Oh, hello there, cyborgs and synthetics. You know, I'm a really big fan of the cyberpunk genre. I love Ghost in the Shell, Blade Runner, The Matrix, and more. It's all really cool stuff to me. However, I know that the genre can only go so far. I mean, with the recent release of Cyberpunk 2077 not living up to everyone's expectations, including my own, it seems to indicate that cyberpunk as a genre is starting to show its age a little bit. I mean, why would Keanu Reeves lie to me like that?
Then check this out.
Why would you do this, Keanu? I thought you were a friend to ape kind. Ara. That being said, there's one video game, not developed by a huge AAA company that also made The Witcher, that managed to play around with the genre of cyberpunk a bit, and in doing so, it crafted, in my opinion, one of the finest point-and-click adventure games of the past decade. So sit back, relax, and crack open a Hasty if you have one, folks, because today on Ape Approved, we're talking about 2064 Read-Only Memories. 2064 Read-Only Memories is a 2015 adventure game developed by Midboss. In it, you play as, well, you, who just happens to be a journalist with a knack for detective work, living in the futuristic world of Neo San Francisco, or Neo SF for short. Which, I always wanted to go to San Francisco. I hear they're really lax about apes being there, so I may check it out myself one day. Anyway, one morning you're greeted by a small robot breaking into your apartment. This robot happens to be Turing, a sapient android developed by your old friend Hayden Weber, an engineer who had been tinkering with artificial intelligence. Turing informs you that Hayden has gone missing and is trusting you, along with their help, to find him, and thus the adventure begins. I'm not going to focus so much on the plot of this story. I'm trying to keep it spoiler-free since I have friends that haven't beat it yet. Sayestic, I guess I'm talking about you. But I will say that there are plenty of twists and turns in it to keep you interested. But instead I'd like to discuss the other elements in this game and why I find them so appealing. 1. Art. 2064 Read-Only Memories has some of the finest pixel art that I've seen in a game. It really helps to make this game appear like an old Sega CD game or an early 90s PC game. All the characters emote and move in a very appealing way, reminiscent of those games of yesteryear. Additionally, the cyberpunk genre usually has an emphasis on nightscapes, with light puncturing through the darkness. But here, the color palette is rather bright and saturated, which I feel is an interesting but welcome change. Usually cyberpunk scenery kinda feels grimy and dirty, but in 2064, Neo SF just seems like regular San Francisco, but in the future, with robots and cyborgs and furries roaming the streets. This game was really inspired by the 1988 cyberpunk adventure game Snatcher by Hideo Kojima, and its visual inspirations are very apparent. But you don't see Kojima in this game, do you? 2. Music. I'm telling you folks, the music in this game, excellent. It can be really funky and sweeping. Really rockin' like Lexi's theme. It can be really tense and serious. are really jaunty and upbeat.
And every single one of them is a banger. And I don't mean sausage, I mean they're all really good songs. And you can't tell me otherwise.
On top of these, almost all the characters you talk to have their own themes associated with them. Like, here's Turing's theme. Again, this just adds to the appeal of these characters. Whenever I see Turing, I always hear that song in my head. The music for this game was composed by 2Mello, which I can't recommend his music enough. He's worked on so many different games, and he has a very, very wide range. Here, I left a link to his Bandcamp account in the description. Definitely check his stuff out. 3. Characters, world, and themes. Okay, I realize that's more than one element, but hear me out. 2064 has a really colorful and delightful cast of characters, each one with a very unique personality, backstory, and set of motivations. For instance, a robotic friend Turing is very curious, but rather cheery for someone who has just gained Sapience. There's also Tomcat, a hacker/hacktivist who talks like a Southern belle. I like them a lot.
I do my share of flirting with both sides of the law. Wouldn't want little old me to get in trouble, huh?
Oh, which reminds me, 2064 has some really good voice actors in it as well, with Tomcat being voiced by Aaron Yvette. Turing is voiced by Melissa Hutchison, who is the same voice actor as Clementine from the Walking Dead series. I like her portrayal of Turing. It comes off as somewhat stoic like a machine, but it still has warmth and dorkiness and liveliness that you would expect from such a character given sentience.
Speaking of the rain, your decorative plant may be doing poorly, but the mildew in your drywall is flourishing.
Even Dave Fennoy, the voice of Rodon in the Bayonetta series, ape-approved forthcoming, does the voice of the narrator in this game.
The world thrives on a constant flow of groundbreaking technology. Cybernetic augmentation and genetic modification allow the repair and enhancement of almost any part of a human body.
And all these voices do is help to lend likability and personality to these characters. I find myself liking and caring about all of them. Even Jess, the hybrid lawyer who fights for the rights of other hybrids like her. What's a hybrid, you ask? Well, in 2064, people can undergo gene therapy to combine their DNA with that of other animals. They do this either for medical reasons, because they have an ailment like cancer or something else that requires it, or merely for aesthetic reasons, because it looks good. Now, before you ask, no, I didn't undergo gene therapy to combine human DNA with gorilla DNA. I was born this way. Or, as far as I know. Huh. But yes, this means that in the future that 2064 Read-Only Memories presents, furries are walking the streets next to cyborgs. Which, I like the idea of a cyberpunk future where there are not only cybernetic enhancements, but also genetic enhancements. On top of this fascinating world, there are themes of maturity, trust, and friendship. You grow to be a really good and trusted friend to Turing, and you grow to trust them too, as well as all the other folks you meet along the way. Also, I like how 2064 has a very anti-corporation message, which I find is well-founded, but you'll just have to play the game to find out what I mean by that. On the whole, 2064 is an adventure game with a deeply beautiful and fascinating world filled with likable characters, fantastic music, beautiful art, and a deeply interesting and compelling story. Save for a few odd mechanics in the game, which I won't really detail too much here, I fell deeply in love with it, and I'm sure you will as well. Well, folks, I gotta go watch Ghost in the Shell for the 57th time. As always, stay classy, stay sassy, and stay... What the heck was that? Whatever. Hey, you folks think that Decker is a replicant?